Welcome to Jean-Louis restaurant. That's a little brief story about our restaurant. We have been in operation for less than 2 months right now, and the restaurant was named not after me, not Jean-Louis. It was named after one of the greatest chefs that came to this country from Europe, Jean-Louis Paladin. He opened up a famous restaurant at the Watergate in Washington, D.C. And I am really honored that I got the permission from his family and the foundation to use his name to open up this little cute restaurant here in Dortmund in Pittsburgh. I'm going to be showing the preparation of 2 ingredients that are very high selling in our restaurant, but very funny. They are not on the menu. We did not want to put on the menu because we wanted to make sure that they are signature dishes, and we tell everybody that these are dishes that we sell only to our friends and VIP alike. Let me start by showing you how we marinated. The ingredient to marinate that is a good kosher salt. Don't ask me why kosher salt is better than the regular salt, but I have a granulated sugar. I had a little bit of the Himalayan pink salt to it. It has a little bit, has a less sodium than the kosher salt, and add a little bit of an extra flavor. So we have the pork belly ready for the marination. I will sprinkle some of the salt on the bottom. I will put the little piggy on top, and I will sprinkle the rest of the salt. Some of the people say with the salt mixture, the sugar. Some other people will say it's enough salt to give you an heart attack. Believe me, this is nothing. Wait until the dish is finished. And this dish is not for the faint of the heart, you know. Now I had my secret ingredient to this dish that is something that comes from Pennsylvania, and it is the maple syrup. It's nice. I found that some of the maple syrup, the best maple syrup in this country, they come from Pennsylvania, Vermont, and even Maine. So I think that Pennsylvania is the best one. So we pour some on top, like that. That's it. I will cover this, the belly with a piece of paper. I will put in the refrigerator and let marinate it for 48 hours. Okay? See you next. Ingredient that we need for this recipe, as I said, it's the jumbo lamb, and this one is pasteurized. I like to use the pasteurized because there is a little bit with the fresh, unless you use it right away, there is always a chance that they get bad on you. So I use the pasteurized, and the amount that I'm going to do now is 3 pounds. 3 pounds of lamb crab meat. Again, remember, I don't believe in recipe, but I have to have some indication. And I put it, I take it out from the can where they come from, and I put in a strainer for at least 24 hours, so all the excess water will deposit on the bottom of the bucket. So we have a very dry, very fresh crab meat. The only indulgence that I do beside what other people use, I use some mayonnaise to start with. I always say I use a 3 spoons of mayonnaise. We have mayonnaise. We add some of there's a Japanese spice, the tokorahashi. I love this spice. It's very, it's a mixture of spices that are really spicy, you know. So it's also mixed with some dry seaweeds and add a little bit more the seafood flavor. Be careful with that because, but again, it's up to you. If you like spicier, you can use as much as you want. You put a little bit of the za'atar inside, a few drops of the Worcestershire sauce, Now that's from Maryland, all day. You have to use something from Maryland beside the crab. And I like to use like that sparsely so it covers my mayonnaise. Again, this one is also a little bit spicy, so be careful there. I had a little bit of freshly squeezed lemon in a bottle because we squeeze and we put in a bottle. This is not concentrate, that's freshly squeezed. No cheating here. And then I have some finely cut chives. I added to them. And now we're gonna mix the ingredient to create a little bit of sauce. The lemon will dilute the thickness of the mayonnaise. I can give you the recipe of the mayonnaise. 6 egg yolk, 1 liter of olive oil. That's it. Salt and pepper as you like it. Now I add the crab to it. As you can see, they are big chunks. I use a plastic spatula because I don't want it to break the cloth. I don't want to break the lump. With a spoon, with a metal spoon, when you mix it will break the cloth. And then I would add my secret ingredient, pulverized Ritz cracker. The reason I use Ritz cracker, as you can see, there is no breading, no eggs, no onion, nothing. The reason I use the Ritz cracker is because the cracker will absorb whatever liquid that has not been strained, and in the same time make a little bit of a paste that keeps the crab together. This crab has nothing, no flour, nothing, so when we mold it, and when we make it, and when we cook it, they mostly like they fall apart, and you can see the whole jambalaya. So like I say, gently we mix it. Do not over mix because you can have a chance to break. You want to keep the lump as big as possible. Okay, the crabs are ready. Now what I do, I will put in the refrigerator for at least a couple hours. So we let the Ritz cracker be absorbed and created a little paste that will keep the crab together when we will mold. And normally the portion is between 3.5 ounces to 4 ounces. This is the portion that we serve here. We serve one as an appetizer, but we can serve the two together as a main course. All right, so we go to the next step. All right, so we formed the crab cake in a little patties. The mayonnaise as together with the Ritz cracker made a paste to keep the crab meat together, but it will still fall apart, you will see, because it really has no eggs, no breadcrumb, no flour. And that's the beauty of that, because those ingredients that change the flavor. This one you really will be able to taste the crab. So I have a little pan going on with some for cooking. I like to use a blend of canola and extra virgin olive oil, because when they reach certain temperature, if you use only olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, it loses the flavor. All right, it goes in the pan. I get a little color on both sides. See, it's already starting to falling apart already. And that's what is good about it. When they say, oh, it falls apart, I'll say, thank God. So is it cooking there? I'll show you. I will turn them over. After I have a little golden color. After I get a little bit color from the other side, I will finish the crab cake in the oven. And guess what I found in the oven? I found a slice of pork belly that was cooked for 3 hours and a very slow temperature, around 250 degrees. So it's a lot of utility consumption. So the pork belly, as you can see, has a nice color to it. It's a lot of meat, not just fat, because a lot of people dislike the pork belly because it's too fatty. This one has a lot of meat, believe me. So it comes from the oven, and I will add my other secret ingredient, like we say, the marination we use, the maple syrup from Pennsylvania. You can serve the pork belly like that, but I like to give a last touch on the grill, just to mark on both sides. One side, and mark it, and I turn them over. And in the meantime, I'm waiting for the maple syrup to come to a certain temperature. If you have a barbecue, if you have a weather, it will suffice. Otherwise, just in the pan is also good. I like to give a little bit of the bitterness of the grill because it's going to be inside the maple syrup and it gets quite sweet. Okay, here we go. And we put them inside the maple syrup. Let it simmer for maybe a minute or so. Turn on both sides. And on the other side. Yum yum. That's a nice piece of bacon. Okay. Turn it off the fire. Get a beautiful plate. Not so beautiful, but it's beautiful. We will plate like that. We pour some of the syrup inside. You can garnish with some microgreens, some chopped chives. Or you know what? I use the basil. It's also good. And voila. And it's served. It could be an appetizer. It could be a dish that can be shared. It could be a side order to a steak or to a chicken. You can do whatever you want, but don't forget to pay the bill, okay? In the meantime, don't forget that we have the crab cake inside the oven. As I told you, it will fall apart. It's nice. That's the way I want it. I had a little spatula here. I like to garnish the crab cake with a jam that we make here. It's a red onion jam. And I like to use a little bit of my version of the Mexican pico de gallo. It's also for coloring. Put it there with the crab cake. And I like to garnish with a nice lemon. So here we have two of the signature dish for Jean-Louis restaurant that are not on the menu, but they're always available. That concludes our cooking experience. Again, I said, if you love cooking like I do, come in the kitchen with me. You're gonna love it the way I do. Thank you.